What's up, guys? JR Raymond back again. Block 2 has been completed, and it's actually the next morning. I waited until the morning to make this because I was exhausted. So we're going to talk about Block 2 and everything that went on there here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, so I just want to kind of clear some things up real quick. I think I put the perception off, or I make people feel like this is my first time being out here, like this is my first time bowling these events, and it's not. I've bowled quite a few of these events, and that's why I'm so hard on myself, and that's why my expectations are a little bit higher than what you would think, as if I was somebody being a first timer. Now, if I was, bowling these events for the first time and being this hard on myself, it would make sense as to be why people would be like, just keep your head up, what are you doing? You'll get there. Well, I was there. That's the thing. I was there at one point making shows and making every match play cut and, doing all those things. So it's not anything new to me. And that's why I think why it's so frustrating and partially embarrassing when you have blocks as bad as what I did. And I guess not so embarrassing. It's just more like I know there's a lot of you who are following and who want to see good things, and I appreciate every one of you for the support and for the good comments and everything. So thank you for that. But this definitely isn't my first rodeo, so that's why I'm a little bit harder on myself, and I expect more from myself when it comes to this stuff. So it's not anything personal against anybody. It's not anything personal against myself. It's just I'm trying to get back to where I once was. And it's taking a little bit of time because the game has changed quite a bit, and things are different. And the reason why things are so hard in this game is because when we look at the professionals out here, everybody gets to a point, and I feel like I'm to that point, where we know where the ball's going. I can do whatever I want with my hand. I can throw it in any part of the lane. I can play any part of the lane. That's not the hard part. Once you get to that point, you can go and bowl. You can do whatever you want. The hard part is understanding how to get the right ball in your hand at the right times and making the right changes at the right times. And then once you find that right ball, making sure, or even before you find that right ball, it's trying to, the initial thing you're looking for is getting the right ball that gives you the most room for error, and then finding that right ball that's actually going to go through the pins the right way. So here's an example. So I bowled a lot better block 2. Block 2 was much better. I bowled 116 over, still way short of what I would have needed anyway. But it was better because I executed better. I didn't throw the ball great the first block, although I didn't throw it bad, but I threw the ball pretty dang good the second block. I knew exactly what was going on. But the problem was I still didn't make good enough ball choices. I never found that bowling ball where I had miss room both ways and it would still go in through the pins, because we're not looking necessarily just for miss room. You have to have the miss room, and when you get those half hits, they have to carry. You have to get your marginal shots or your okay shots to carry most of the time in order to compete out here. And if you don't have the right ball in your hand, those marginal hits just aren't going to carry. So, and I know everybody's the answer is going to be, well, just throw it great every shot. Well, we're human. It's not possible. It's not possible to throw it great every shot. But I will honestly say I feel like I threw at least 9 shots a game that I thought were pretty much money in that night block. And this is what I ran into. I finally found a ball. I went to this volatility, which is a ball that I would have never thought would have worked because it's such a strong ball, but I went to it anyway just because I had no other options. All the stuff that I know about ball motion kind of got thrown out the window, and I just said, you know what, I'm just going to try something that I have no idea that normally in my mindset wouldn't work. So I grabbed that ball to play on the left lane because I kept flat 10ing or wrap 10 and stone 9. Game 1, I literally I 7-10, stone 9, and wrap 10 all in between strikes because I struck every time on the right lane again. So my look was still the same on the right lane. I struck a lot on the right lane again last night. My look on the left lane was still suspect. But once I pulled this volatility out at the end of game one, For some reason, even though it looked bad, it didn't look right to me. My eye says there's no way this ball should be striking, but for some reason it was striking. Not as much as I needed it to, but my strike percentage probably went from 25% on the left lane to about 40%. So I'm catching, those doubles and triples. So here's what was happening. So I'm bowling 220 or 230 instead of 2-0 or 2-10 now. But I'm bowling and I'm going strike, 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 and then I'll 4-pin. And now you get it caught in a situation where it's like, okay, I know I threw that pretty good, and I can't just sit there and try to throw it better. I have to move off of that 4-pin. But then when you move off of the 4-pin, now you flat 10. Okay, that right there tells you immediately, I don't have the right ball in my hand. Because what you're looking for is even if I throw it bad and I 4-pin, you're still going to move off that. Because when you throw it bad, you're looking for a way to still strike. And I know this probably sounds really confusing, but moving off of bad shots is really important. I mean, most people will try to tell you that you can't move off a bad shot, you just got to throw it better, and that's not true. Like, if I throw it bad and I 4-pin, I'm moving, because when I throw it bad, it's not really that bad. It's actually pretty marginal. It's just a pinch in when I 4-pin, and if it 4-pins and doesn't sit there and strike, you're either not in the right part of the lane or you're not using the right ball. And so I'm hearing people say, well, you make too many adjustments. It's not too many adjustments. It's about trying to. That's the only way you can keep up out here, is trying to get the right ball in your hand. And the people who have it figured out, the guys who are bowling really good, your Bill O'Neill, your EJ Tackett, your Belmo, they've got the patterns figured out to a point where they know what they can do, and they know which balls work in these situations to give them those half hits. So they've got it figured out. Simonson, I crossed with Simonson. And to be honest, as good as Simonson bowled, he threw quite a few bad shots. So it's like, when you watch that, you don't want to like look at him and say, how are you striking so much when you're throwing it all over the lane? I mean, you're not going to look at him and say that, because he's not throwing it all over the lane. It's just you notice the little subtle differences in it, and then it gets frustrating when you feel like you're sitting there labeling shots and getting 9 all the time. That's how it goes. But that's what I'm talking about, is it's finding the right ball that gives you the ability to have marginal shots that still carry those half hits. If you're not carrying those half hits, you're in trouble out here. So I guess the whole point of this is it's all a learning experience, trying to figure out exactly, the moves to make with the bowling balls. It's not so much the moves on the lanes. Learning how to play the lanes is the easy part. Making the shots is the easy part. It's getting the right balls in your hand with the right rotation matched up. That is the hard part, to get the ball to go through the pins and do the right things. So I guess if you can take anything from this, it's more imperative to get your physical game where it needs to be, and then when you want to get out and bowl in these big elite events, you're going to have to take your lumps for a while trying to figure out exactly, your bowling balls. And maybe that's my issue, is I have too many bowling balls, because I drill from all the companies to do all these reviews, and I'm kind of just picking and choosing and selecting bowling balls that I feel like match up well with me. But I think, and that actually leads into a good point, that volatility was a different type of shape. It was a different layout. It was a much stronger layout. It was a 4.5-inch pin rather than the 4.5 or 5.5 or 5.25-inch pins that I was using in the first block. So maybe that was the difference, as I was able to get something to stand up a little bit more, because I did try like the Halo or the Idol. Those are 5.25 to 5.5-inch pins, and they're big, strong bowling balls, and they were slow like the volatility, but because the volatility had that, a little bit stronger layout, it made it flare just a little bit more. It must have helped it to get through the pins a little bit better. So now I wonder, what if I would have had one at 4 inches? Would it have given me what I needed there? So these are the things we kind of take out of this. But I know I'm rambling, but I want you guys to be able to learn as much as possible off of what I saw out there over the last couple of days. So that's all I got for you. I bowled pretty good throughout the block. I bowled 170 game 6, just because it was just a pair I couldn't figure out, and I bowled 2-10 the last game. So I mean, it's not like I didn't bowl awful, just didn't score where I needed to score. So that's how it goes. So I'm out of here. We'll see you guys later. If you got any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below. Otherwise, we will see you guys. I got a bunch of videos coming out. I'm going to go video some of the players up in match play right now. Maybe do some interviews as well. So we'll see you guys later. Take care.